Welcome back. Activists in support of legalizing civil marriage are gathering at the moment in Martyrs Square in downtown Beirut. The controversy over civil marriage was renewed earlier this month when President Michel Sleiman voiced his support for its adoption, saying the constitution guaranteed it as a civil right. Sleiman proclaimed his support days after a couple who had deleted mention of their religious identity from the registration attempted to make their civil wedding official. Now, Youmna, on to you.
Yes, thank you, Noor. Yes, Khouloud Soukaria and Nidal Darwish announced that they had wed as a secular couple and that they were awaiting the Interior Ministry's formal recognition of their marriage documents. However, religious leaders are split on the issue of civil marriage. This could not have been more obvious than when Grand Mufti Sheikh Mohammed Rashid Kabbani issued a fatwa last week saying any Muslim official who supported civil marriage should not be considered Muslim. And our guest today is Firas Maksad. Firas Maksad is a Washington, D.C. based political consultant and Middle East analyst. Welcome, Firas.
Good to be with you.
You wrote in The Grand Mufti, My Wife and I, an article you published last week, Your Eminence, your threats do not represent Islam but are designed only to perpetuate your own position of authority and to squash a debate on personal freedoms that may one day endanger your hold on society. So do you believe that it's just a religious issue?
No, actually, I don't believe that it's a religious issue at all. I believe that it is an issue of personal freedoms. Those in Lebanon who are pushing for the right to civil marriage are not trying to force their opinion on anybody. It would be an optional civil marriage, meaning that Lebanese today have the ability, have the right to wed according to Sunni, Shia, Christian, Druze, whatever their denomination is. But they do not have the right to come together as people in love under a civil marriage that puts them on equal footing with everybody else. So what we're asking for is the right to do so. And again, as President Sleiman put it, this is something that is guaranteed in the Constitution. The preamble of the Lebanese Constitution clearly calls on officials to start moving towards a non-confessional, non-sectarian system. I don't know a better way to do that than start with the family, which is the basic building block of society.
Right, but this has been an issue for endless numbers of years, and every time that it's brought up, it causes a little bit of commotion, and then right away, it's as if it's forgotten. And here it is again, and I know you wrote this article, but do you think that this could be a turning point, or it's just going to go back to business as usual?
Right. I mean, I don't want to dwell on the article, but the article within the framework of within 24 hours was shared over 1,700 times on Facebook alone.
Right.
That tells us something. There is momentum today like there has never been before. Yes, the issue did come up in 1998. Back then, President Ilyas Lehrawi was the one who put it on the table. And we do remember that the Mufti, back then who was in one political camp, and the Patriarch, who was in an opposing political camp, both came together to squash the civil marriage law because they both have invested interest in keeping control over the different religious constituencies.
Okay, well, let's just hold on that thought for a second. They all have, you're saying that everybody has an interest in keeping like what you call a grip on people, if we can say that. But there are certain people that have written, that have responded just generally to the whole civil marriage thing, saying that, well, some civil rights aren't recognized in Lebanon, like the issue of inheritance, for example. One person said that her mother was Sunni and that her father was Christian, and basically she couldn't inherit according to the laws that are here. So it would be a long way until things change. So what would be the first step? There are other issues involved.
Let me be very honest with you, Youmna. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not an attorney here. So I wouldn't be able to walk you through about all the legal steps that need to be taken. But we're not recreating something new here. I mean, Turkey, one of the largest countries in the Middle East, 80 million people, predominantly Muslim, has a civil marriage law. They worked out their inheritance issues just fine. I'm sure if the Lebanese had the political will, and if we maintain the momentum to go through with this, that we will find the legal framework to work through this. And in fact, the religious courts that are currently in place don't present a solution to the issue of inheritance. How many people do we know who switch from one sect to another only because they have daughters and the inheritance does not allow for their daughters to get their fair share?
And you, again, I just want to You were just recently married, and I know that according to this article, your civil marriage has not been registered in Lebanon. Was this what prompted you to write this specific article and to voice it?
I mean, I definitely wrote this article out of personal frustration. My wife, as mentioned in this article, is Muslim. She very much feels Muslim. She practices as a Muslim. And she was equally outraged by the fatwa that the the Mufti put out, essentially saying that she is not a Muslim, not to be buried, not to be prayed on. It is deeply insulting at a very personal level to be labeled that way, only for demanding your right to choose and to be equal under civil law and civil marriage.
And I just want to end on this. You know, 2 weeks ago, the electoral draft law was the big issue before civil marriage came in and kind of stole the show. And after 2 weeks of deliberations, the officials couldn't even agree on a specific draft law for the upcoming elections. So what does this tell you? I know you're a Middle East analyst. What does this tell you about anything that we're trying to agree on as a united country?
Again, I think the election law is a manifestation, is a symptom of a sick society, a society that has been divided along communal sectarian lines for many years, since independence and before. The only way that we could get to actually remedy that is the gradual deconfessionalization of the system. And you can only do that by starting in the family, starting at home, where people come together. And marriage is the institution to do so.
Okay, well, thank you so much.